again until it gets to 2. For some of you, I know your mics are not working, but I want you to, in your chat, for this question, assume that the following variables are defined. Write a single CN statement that will read into each of these variables. You don't have to give me the C out in the chat and message. How would you write that?
Wasn't there? I believe we're able to we're able to use one CN. Yeah, exactly.
Write it. Yeah, you're able to use one CN. How would you write it?
By using CN 2S.
No, everyone in the chat, message it, see it, so I can see it.
Right.
Very good. Assuming a string object has been defined as follows. Besides Husan, how can you write a single CN statement that reads in a single word into the variable description? No one?
Wait, no, I'm thinking it's like it's one word.
Well, because remember, CN has issues with how it reads in. Remember, on one PowerPoint slide, it ignores things at the beginning. So how can you read in a single word into CN? And put it sort of as the description.
Not sure if this is right, but isn't it CN.get?
Now, CN get is only for a single character. So it would be CN and just the variable name description with a semicolon, of course. It reads up. It ignores all the white space at the beginning, sees a non-white space, reads it in, but then that next white space it sees, it stops. So that's why it's a single word. Now on part B, write a statement that reads in a string that can contain multiple words separated by blanks. How can I get the entire line in and store it in description?
Boy, was it just that, like specifically for B?
Seeing that description reads in a single word, but how can I grab the entire line? Yes, in Harvard, that's good. That's correct for A, but not for B. I'm giving you the hint. How can we get in the entire line?
Oh, I think I found it. Yeah.
I'll post that in the chat. Get line. Number 3, what header file must be included in the following program?
IO made IP.
IO manip is one, and what else?
IO stream.
IO stream.
Yeah, right? I think it was IO stream for C out.
Yes. IO stream is correct for C out. And then since we have that set with, you need IO manipulation. I'm not going to worry too much about this because you should be practicing with that. Now, here's a good question. Assume that a program has the following variable definitions. Int, unit, float, double. And the following statement is weight is equal to mass times unit. Which automatic data type conversion will take place? Each one of you type in either A, B, and C. It's only one answer. What's the correct one? I see only 3 Bs. I know we have more participants in this class. I guess they're not paying attention. All right, let's look at it. So no one says A, so why would A be incorrect? It says mass is demoted to ints. Units remain int and results. This does not sound, we didn't talk about anything about automatic demotion, correct? So everyone says B. Let's look at it clearly. Units is promoted to a float. We got mass, which is a float, and int is units. So this part is correct. Units is promoted to a float. Mass remains a float. That's correct, because remember the chart is the same. And the result of mass times units is a float. That's a possibility, but let's look at C. Unit is promoted to a float, mass remains a float, and the mass result of mass unit is a double. I lean more to C, not B. Because the first part of B is correct, because that's the same. But remember, whatever it ends up to be, it ends up to be that variable type. So the result of mass times units is itself a float, but you're assigning it to a double. And if you look at the chart, it always gets assigned stored as the data type of that variable, which is a double, because weight is a double. Make sense?
Mhm.
So the correct answer is C. Assuming a program has the following variable definition. What will the value be stored in A? All right. You got one A and multiple B's. I think B's are winning out. So let's look at this. B is an int, C is a float. So 2 times this int and float, you get both of them. B is 2 times C is 4, which is 8.4. But then you're assigning it to an integer A. So it doesn't know what the 0.4 is and only gets stored as a B. It doesn't know what decimal place are. It just knows what the whole number is.
Yeah, but don't you have to have the parentheses around A and B, or it's just going to multiply it in a single line? So it'd be A2 minus 2 would be 0 times 4.2.
Say that one more time.
So wouldn't you have to have the parentheses around A minus B for it to calculate that correct, or else it's just going to calculate?
Where's A minus B?
I can't really see your screen, but in the equation A minus B times C.
No, this is saying B times C, not minus.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but isn't it A minus B at first?
A minus B. I don't see an A minus B.
All right, so I'm on the line where it says integer a, comma b equals 2.
No, I'm talking about the equation. Isn't the equation A minus B times C?
No,
A,
that's
my A
assignment.
equals.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't really see it. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Assuming that the quantity and sales reps are both integers, quantity and sales reps are both integers, use a typecast expression to rewrite the following statement so it will no longer perform integer division. So in the chat, start typing this up. How can you, let's do it this way, properly cast, C++ properly casts this to do, so it no longer does integer division. So how would you type that up? And I'm looking at the chat to see who gets it correct.
So it'd be like how to cast out dividing integers.
Well, the quantity is an integer, sales rep is an integer. So quantity divided by sales rep are both doing integer division. But we talked about casting. So how can we C++ properly static cast that? Static cast, double, quantity. Yes. This ain't got it. Yes. Granted, that's all lowercase static cast, but I know sometimes it automatically corrects it, but yes. You can cast either the top one or the bottom one, but you cannot cast both of them. For example, you cannot write it as where's my thing? Can I get rid of this? When it comes to this, you have to be very careful with what's that? It was quantity and sales reps. You can do static cast double. Quantity and sales reps. Quantity. In parentheses. Divided by sales reps. You can do the numerator or denominator, but you cannot do this. Does that make sense?
So you can only use a static cast on one variable.
You can do it on both. You can static cast both if you want as two separate ones. But remember, you only need to do one because the other one will be automatically forced to the other data type. But if you do this, and let's say it's 1 divided by 2, that's still doing integer division, you're going to get 0, but then you cast it, it's going to end up being 0.0. So be careful on stuff like this. You can static cast just one of them, or you can do both of them, but you just technically need to do just one. Let me get the chat thing back. On this one, rewrite the following variable definition so the variable name is named constant. So how would you do that?
Receiver.
Write it. Because at this time when we were in class, we're not to have students at the board writing this to see constant int rate. Oh, but wait, we got problems. We got problems. We have a constant int rate, but what? That would be a syntax error. Justin, Michael, that would be a syntax error. You're missing something. When something cannot be changed, you must give it something. There you go. There you go. You must give it something.
Are you also talking about making it all caps because it's a consonant?
Capital all, capital is, you don't have to. It's good programming practice to make it all caps. It's not a requirement. But when something is a constant and you define variable, you must give it a value at that line. Because right here, constant int rate, right? That's what you guys have. It's all lowercase, but it's giving me a syntax error. Not that it's a problem. It says constant variable rate requires an initializer. It's not necessarily that it's capital, even though it should be nice, but you must give it a value. See? No longer an error. So if you don't give it value, it's going to error out on that line. And if I try to change it on another line, it's going to give me an error on the line that I'm trying to change. You cannot assign a variable that is a constant. Expression must be a model by L value. You might see this. The left side is called an L value. The other side is an R value. So it's saying, hey, this expression must be a modifiable L value. So this side right here must be modifiable. It is not modifiable because I have this constant on it. Are you clear on that?
Yep.
Very good. Let's just do one of these. Take this last one right here, num modulus 2, and type it in shorthand notation.
Show it again for a second.
Oh, let me see. I just lost the document. Hold on 1 second. TCC. Did your copy? Here it is. Right here, this num1 assignment num2. Write that in combined shorthand notation. Very good. You do the modulus first, and then you assign it. Let's see if there's any other good questions. I'll let it go. Now let's see how good your eyes are on some of these. On 28, each of the following programs has some errors. Just shout them out. Locate as many as you can. What is wrong with this?
I believe one of them is that C out and C in are uppercase.
That's the one. Yeah, this is capital, 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 capital. So yes.
For
What else?
CN, the arrows are pointing in the wrong direction.
CN is pointing the wrong direction. Very good.
I believe when reassigning the sum you are assigning it in the wrong answer.
Yeah, correct. It should be sum assignment num1 plus num2. Very good. What else?
You're missing.
Oh, you don't have arrows pointing left. What for the last C out?
Okay, very good. What else?
You're also missing the semicolon at the end of the second to last line.
Very good. And let's quickly look at the lecture slides, see if there's anything else that I can get you on. It requires which preprocessor directive?
Say again?
To use CN, which preprocessor directive do you need?
IO stream.
IO stream. About mathematical expressions. Be familiar with order of operations, mathematical writing shorthand notations. Know the familiar that when you do calculations on two different data types, that one gets converted to the next. You don't have to memorize this completely. Just know that double and float wins out ints. And know that when it's automatically, some of the terminology, if it's automatically type conversion, it's a coercion. Promotion would be something like as in a cast, you're forcing it to be a different data type. Whether it to be a promotion up to the higher data type or demotion where you cast it to a lower. Be careful of overflows and underflow in case you're trying to store a value that's too big for that data type. I'm not going to ask you what's the max range for this variable type. Just know that be careful of overflows and underflows when you try to store something too big into a data type. Know how to cast a variable with, if I ask you for a C++ standard way, you're going to do it this way compared to the shorthand notation of the other way. This is the old C style. I call it the shorthand. But if you need the C++ standard way, no, it's the other one, static cast. Know the shorthand. Know the preprocessor directive IO manip. Know fix, set position, and so point. This would be a good thing to get familiar with what these are for. String objects. Remember, using CN operators, it passes over all white spaces at the beginning, not the middle, not at the end. CN ignores the beginning parts. Unlike getLine, which takes all the information before and after. So be familiar with this. The purpose of CN get reads in just a character. And ignore, and then also the addition symbol for string appends it. Know that there's other CMath out there for other mathematical functions. I'm not going to require you to know what sine, cosine, tangent, or square root, log, or absolute value are. Just know that if there's anything that requires an upper mathematical formulas, you know that there's a CMath out there, along with random number generator. You use another preprocessor directive, CST-LIB, and the next one is just hand tracing a program. Any questions from this chapter? I'm going to stop the recording.